Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. You're watching another episode of the Engine Room podcast brought to you by tokenmetrics.com. Joining us, as usual, we've got Jacob and Bill. Guys, what's going on? How's the market treating you?
Hi.
What's up, Dylan?
Yo, yo. So we got a few news items to work through today. Let's talk about eBay and crypto because eBay is this amazing, gigantic marketplace. And if and when they accept crypto, that could be a pretty major breakthrough in terms of adoption. But Jacob, talk to us about eBay's announcement of their announcement.
Yeah, so this is the hot news of this week. eBay's CEO Jamie Iannone told the street that they have an investor meeting on March 10th, and they're going to discuss the possibility of accepting crypto payments. The CEO says, "We're just completing our transition to managed payments, where we're now managing $85 billion of volume. So this gives them the opportunity to open up new forms of payment." And it's interesting that they're really targeting millennials and Gen Z at eBay. So they said, "We've opened up Google Pay, Apple Pay. They've partnered with Afterpay in Australia, which is a Gen Z platform in Australia. And they're kind of going to now evaluate other forms of payment." They also said that currently they changed their rules last year to allow you to trade NFTs on the platform. And they didn't really announce anything or do anything besides just changing the policies. And then people just started selling NFTs. And the CEO kind of compared this to years ago. People just started selling cars and they didn't have any vehicle business at that point. And people just, it's what the people wanted. So
Wow,
it's
it's
very interesting that they're
kind
going.
of amazing to think about eBay as an OpenSea competitor because they've already got so much solid e-commerce infrastructure behind them that they could just so easily flip the crypto switch and immediately begin competing. How much money did OpenSea generate last quarter? It was billions and
Yeah,
billions, yeah.
yeah.
So eBay could just flip this crypto switch and suddenly be on the map in a major way and help put crypto on the map as a major way. It's mostly how I'm interpreting that news.
Yeah,
Bill, what
and
do you make? What do you?
I,
Well,
I'm
sorry, I
just
should
I'm
say
just curious how their NFT business even works. Because if there's not, you don't have crypto wallets connected to eBay, then how do you exchange these NFTs? Because at this point,
Yeah.
it's
So
probably just JPEGs on eBay, and how do you verify it? I'm
yeah,
sure there's a way.
it's quite a reduction to call it flipping the crypto switch because what does that actually mean? You have to design all kinds of payment infrastructure and figure out, okay, if crypto, then which kind of crypto, and they'll probably end up having their own coin at some point.
Mhm.
But yeah, all I'm saying is it's to flip the crypto switch is many steps in effect. Bill, do you have a take on eBay?
Well, I think when the Ukrainians started accepting payment in crypto, corporations maybe woke up and said, why aren't we? So we're in the middle of, I don't know, either a one day or an ongoing mass adoption FOMO trade.
Yeah, I mean, you're perfectly teeing up what the rest of this podcast is going to be about, to be honest, because we do 3 of these episodes a week, and last week it was what if Ukraine and Russia, what if Ukraine Russia, and speaking to you now, that's happened. So now that Ukraine Russia, what if seems to be the big bad scary thing that a lot of market prognosticators like Bill was worried about. It actually happened last week. So picking up the pieces this week, I want to kind of throw these 2 articles out there simultaneously. Here's one headline: Ukraine Vice Prime Minister calls on crypto exchanges to freeze Russian accounts. This is basically the Ukrainian government saying, hey, Russia's probably doing shady stuff with crypto, and it's up to the exchanges to halt their ability to use those accounts. Article number 2, to pair that with, the Ukrainian government raises more than $10 million in crypto following public appeal. So this is just talking about, all told, there's been approximately $10 million in crypto raised for Ukraine specifically for its resistance efforts against this Russian invasion situation. So, is it clear what this contrast is? This is if we kind of interpret these two news items together here, this is Ukraine saying we're going to use crypto for good stuff like fighting Russia. So it's up to the exchanges to prevent Russia, the bad thing, from being able to use crypto. Let us use crypto so that we can stop Russia. Is this idea clear, guys?
Yes, there's a lot of unusual stuff going on. I mean, the first thing that the West has done is they've weaponized the dollar through the SWIFT system. Okay, so if you're the world's reserve currency, my opinion is you should be maintaining the integrity of that, regardless. I know that's not consensus. So when we cut people off, when we cut Putin off from SWIFT, he went to his equivalent of DEFCON 1, and has the silo doors open. So, if we nuke their economy, what are they going to do? So that's an open question. All right. So I'm glad the Ukrainians were able to raise money, bless their hearts, right? I'm just not sure what they're going to do with the crypto once they get it, but I'm sure they'll figure that out. My primary concern is, if they're trying to shut down, say Russian Bitcoin addresses off centralized exchanges, how long is it before some regulator gets on the tape and goes, you know what? I know the good guys are using it, but I think this could be to the benefit of the bad guys, and we may have to do something with miners or whatever regulation. So there's going to be a mass adoption FOMO trade, but once that trade is done, the crypto narrative is either going to, as you said, it's either going to be in the camp of the good guys or the bad guys, and that's going to be determined over the next 3 days.
Yeah. And for me, my worry is that if the Ukrainian vice prime minister is calling out saying, hey, we need to ban Russians from using crypto, it's like, well, maybe ban the Russian government or Russian military leaders. But what about all the citizens in Russia who've now lost 40-50% of their wealth if they held it in rubles, and the crypto is their way out? And if they're not supporting the war, why should they be punished just because they live in this defined border under this?
Right. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Right. Crypto's there to help the people, which, is why this mass adoption trade is really so appealing. Right. It's really appealing to see Bitcoin green up 10%. The question is, how will all the various governments react to sort of crypto rallying in their face?
Jacob, talk to us about this Jesse Powell tweet storm, because he's the CEO of Kraken, a very large crypto exchange, and he responded specifically to this request about freezing Russian accounts. Take us through it, man.
Yeah. So I think it's important that we can say explicitly what the Vice Prime Minister of Ukraine, and he's also the Minister of Digital Transformation of Ukraine, said on Twitter. So he said, I'm asking all major crypto exchanges to block addresses of Russian users. It's crucial to freeze not only the addresses linked to Russian and Belarusian politicians, but also to sabotage ordinary users. Binance said it's not going to unilaterally freeze millions of innocent users' accounts. Jesse Powell, co-founder and CEO of Kraken, said he understands the rationale for this request, but despite his deep respect for the Ukrainian people, Kraken cannot freeze the accounts of our Russian clients without a legal requirement to do so. However, Russians should be aware that such a requirement could be imminent. But he responds further. He has a tweet storm, a 6-tweet thread. He says he would guess that the vast majority of crypto holders on Kraken are anti-war. Hashtag Bitcoin is the embodiment of libertarian values, which strongly favor individualism and human rights. And he calls it. He says it's crypto's the people's money. It's an exit strategy for humans, a weapon for peace, not for war. And then he kind of ends this off with a little jab at the U.S. and U.S. citizens, saying, besides, if we're going to voluntarily freeze financial accounts of residents of countries unjustly attacking and provoking violence around the world, step one would be to freeze all U.S. accounts. As a practical matter, that's not really a viable business option for us.
Yeah. Good on you, Jesse. All right, Bill. It's Monday. It's early in the week for anybody who's listening and following this podcast in real time. What kinds of trades should people be thinking about this week? What do you think?
All right, so this is a good question. So there's the mass adoption trade that's going to get done, right? So that may be a momentum trade to like 46. Then I think you have to ask yourself, once crypto gets done with that, the Fed, CPI, inflation, the Russians at nuclear readiness, plus the State of the Union address. So my trade ideas are, if you made money being long or you got trapped in bad trades, maybe perhaps you take the money, right? In other words, this market has paid you to buy when everyone's selling and sell when everyone is buying. And I think I'm going to stick with that theme throughout the week.
All right, right on. Well, we'll be sure to check in throughout, see how that's going. Guys, by way of reminder, this podcast is called Engine Room. It's brought to you by tokenmetrics.com. Be sure to go check that out if you're trying to figure out how to make money in crypto. I've been Dylan, and we've also had Jacob and Bill here. So thanks for listening to another episode, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday.